Sometimes when hosting the space, I get to meet new people, and other times I have the pleasure of welcoming an old friend. Today we have Debby Schwartz, who is a rehearsal colleague of mine here, and a prime candidate for sweetheart of the space. Debby?
Psilocybin warriors could imagine what's inside. A blessed peace beyond mere death's release awaits me in this garden of my own. The light that breaks with every step she takes, she's shining in this garden of my own. The glowing green like none I've ever seen carpets all this garden of my own. The lilies of the valley, the orchid and the rose, the poppies and narcissus and the silly marigolds. Sometimes I see a veil that thins for me as I step inside this garden of my own. And when the sun is setting and the purpling dusk descends, I fear no evil presence. I'm surrounded by my friends, and it's no crime to sing a love sublime as I step inside this garden of my own. A lullaby, this garden of my own.
That was Sitting in a Garden of My Own from Debby's recent album, Garden of My Own. And now, performing another song from the album, here is Debby again with My Hope.
My hope, giving rope, coming home to me. Oh, my hope, skipping rope, coming home to me. Perched like a little diamond beneath the glass ceiling, trapped behind a glass wall. Scattered figures pass like ghosts, powerless to watch them fall. Youth confused with beauty, age confused with time. How you gonna fly away in a sky so high to climb? Oh, my hope, skipping rope, coming home to me. Oh, my hope, skipping rope, coming home to me. Perched like a little diamond, shedding sparkles on the sea. Oh, my hope, skipping rope, coming home to me. The seven sisters hang like jewels in the clear black winter night. A pale of cloud has crossed her face and dulled the moon's white light. The streets are dark and empty now, the air is damp and cold. I walk the darkest passageway to follow his soul back home. I walk the darkest passageway to follow his soul back home. I walk the darkest passageway to follow his soul back home. The sand bears the footprints like marks on its face, with beer cans and papers all over the place. Minted when I don't feel I want it, I want it.
Oh, Debbie, thank you so much for those two magnificent performances.
Oh, thanks
and
for having me.
It's funny to welcome you here to the space since we both rehearse here regularly in its other guise as rehearsal hall.
Mm-hmm.
But as our special guest, we're delighted to welcome you to this context. The second song you did, My Hope. Can you tell me a little bit about the inspiration for those lyrics, which are somewhat enigmatic, maybe, perhaps? Or
I guess, yeah. I wrote it in, I can more remember where I wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
I was living in Williamsburg, and I just remember being in my room and looking out the window, and I was probably like digging into, I don't know, Robert Graves at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just, pulling things out. I did that a lot back then. And I kind of think of it as a winter solstice song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I kind of do. I kind of think of it as sort of the return of the light, like that whole kind of
I
pagan
see.
concept of, it's like pagan New Year, except it happens on winter solstice, which is Christmas now, I guess.
Now, I think I first got to know you when you joined the PG6 band as bass player, and subsequently have learned a lot about your previous musical career, the Aquanettas, your solo career, etc. But you were in the PG6 band as bass player and part vocalist or a vocalist for some time. And then now there's an explosion of Debby Schwartz activity. You have the EP, Satan Brought Me Down. You have your album, A Garden of My Own. You've done some shows, and you went on a tour. What inspired you, or what motivated you to bring yourself out to the fore once again?
Oh, God. Well, first of all, I started recording the record in, I think 2008, May of 2008.
So it's a while in the hopper.
It took me forever. And I think I was probably depressed. I didn't know what to do with myself. So I'm like, I'll just do some demos. But I decided I was going to do demos on 2-inch tape. I had that stuck in my head. I was going to do acoustic on 2-inch tape, and I'd run into Ivan Julian at the Hoboken Street Fair when he was playing with Jim Master. They were doing Health and Happiness.
Right.
Ivan used to step in and play with them a lot. So, and I'd already known Ivan for a few years, so we got talking about his new studio with Matt Verderay, and and then I finally got the nerve to like go in like 6 months later and ask
So he
him.
worked on, ever since 2008, he worked on you through the completion of it?
Yes, he did.
And when, of course, Ivan first came to my attention in the Voidoids. How would you describe working with him? What does he bring to you as a producer that is very helpful to you?
Oh, you know what was, he was so hands-off in a way. It felt like, but he was actually very hands-on, but it was very much in the background. So he was really, he it was a very small studio, New York had, and their motto is that they're working their way backwards in time. So they're all like tape and tube, and it's like a cathedral of like Ampex, and if you know anything or like anything about that, you're just like, and he let me do what I wanted to do, which was a little strange because when I'd recorded before, there was always some producer saying, okay, do that again, and this time do it like this. And he would tell me, okay, that was a good or bad take, but he was really letting me take the reins. Yeah, which scared the hell out of me, actually, because I thought, oh my God, I can't blame a producer if this is bad. This is going to be on me.
But it sounds like his method worked well for you. And
his method was more, I want to get a performance.
Well, like we saw here, I mean, your vocal abilities and stylings has a lot of dynamics to it, but it's beautiful, of course, as I'm sure you've been told before. The title, Satan, You Brought Me Down. Have you had a personal experience with Satan?
Oh, yes.
Do tell.
Well, I played music in New York.
I see.
So that right there.
I see.
I played rock and roll music.
Have you been tempted?
By Satan? I love that song by Sonic Youth, Satan is Boring. I think that kind of sums up my attitude. But
I have a line in a current song, Satan is a character, and he is a character.
If I may, Master Margarita.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
An excellent novel, which we recommend to all our viewers.
Absolutely.
So you sort of have some glam roots, even though you come to us in a non-glam format.
Well, my parents.
Aquanettas, were they sort of in a glam mode?
The Aquanettas were more Stones. The Stones.
Oh, Stones, yeah.
That was what we could agree on as a band. I wouldn't say we sounded like the Stones. One reviewer said we sounded like female replacements, which I appreciated greatly, and we didn't get compared just to other female bands, which is what usually happened.
Yeah.
But the Aquanettas, it was kind of a weird mix in a way, but we made it work, I think, and we made it work for 7 years.
So you started, when I asked about glam, you mentioned your parents, they were glam rockers?
Not exactly, but they sang in an Episcopal church choir, which is almost the same thing, because there's dressing up involved.
Yes, there is dressing up.
The ceremony.
There is, yes.
Ritual, so.
Yes. That'll lead you straight to glam, pretty much.
It really does.
Now, I also read, when I did my research, that you were in an avant-garde art performance type of group called the Summit Ensemble.
Yes, I was.
And tell us all about that, because none of our other guests have been in such a group.
Yeah, that was a long well, when I went to SUNY Potsdam, it was sort of like I was like the little budding freak trapped in the John Hughes movie. It was all frats and sororities, and then I fell in with this group of people that were like the art majors and the composition majors, like music composition majors, and kind of formed this band out of, there was like 8 or 9 of us, called the Flavor Crystals. And these guys, like, they got me into Gong and Tangerine Dream and Brian Eno and all that stuff, and we would just get together and get stoned and record and do pieces and then listen to them back and critique them, and it was kind of like that.
Have you done any that type of performance work in recent years?
No, I haven't. I think the closest I get even to improvising is with PG6, which is one of my favorite things about the band, is that you just take off. And
right, yeah. Which I encourage everyone. Now, PG was a guest on our show, a previous episode, so our regular viewers are already familiar with him, but for those that aren't regular viewers, you might check back and check that out.
I would love to.
And now, the song A Garden of My Own, as a socialist, did give me some pause, because I thought to myself, do you have something against the community garden?
No, not at all. No, that song.
So explain. So
okay.
I can relax about this.
No,
so
it's
I thought
even
she should
weirder.
really be in a community garden.
No, I do. But no, it was, for some reason, that was my reaction to reading Sylvia Browne, the psychic.
Oh, I don't really know her.
Yeah, she's on Montel Williams all the time, and she's like, your son, he's dead. He's in a ditch. It's about 5 miles from where the cops were looking. I'm sorry. You know. And,
No wonder you watched that.
yeah. It was like, no. She's alive, but she's not coming home. So
And how did that bring you to a
no,
garden of
but
your own?
she was writing. And I started reading one of her books, and she's talking about heaven, and she's saying that heaven occurs about 3 feet off the ground from where we are. So we're kind of walking through heaven, like we're walking through. Everybody's getting kicked in the head by everyone in heaven as we walk around. And heaven is like, it's got a very Greco-Roman kind of feel to it, with big polished marble halls, and it's got like a long hallway full of files, and I guess those are supposed to be the Akashic records, and it's got the record of all your existences through time. And in heaven you get to sit and listen to jazz music all the time, and I'm like, what the hell kind of jazz music? Because that's going to make a big difference on whether I behave myself for the rest of my life, or just, you know,
yeah, you might not even want to go there.
flip the game and
Wrong
go to hell.
time,
Yeah,
And it's 3 feet off the ground.
this is what she said. I don't know where she gets this. And I'm thinking, like, what if you're a pygmy? You're going to be walking through there like, what the fuck? You know, you're not going to even get
it could be awkward depending on your height. Well, you know.
So I wrote this song because of that, really. I mean,
No wonder.
It makes less sense.
Yes. You can probably cut it off right here, but thanks again a million for coming in.
Thank you, sweetie. It was great to be here.
And I hope you'll come back
I would love
to the space. There you have it.